Alright, I'm out here disassembling the stock set of heads now. I've already got the comp cams out. You can't see them. They're sitting on the bench. I'm just pulling the comp springs out right now. I did find a better way to use this tool. So I got the bar over here. This way I can just pry down on it. It actually works a good bit better than this way. Pops them right off. A little easier than the other way. Just wanted to show that. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish popping all these, and then I'll take some measurements on the valve seats. I'll be back shortly. Okay guys, I'm gonna check and see if there's a difference between the valve seat diameter. I do. These two heads. Kind of curious. Stock head is going to be at 1.290. I think that's close to what this head is. This head's a little larger. Head's only about 1 thou or so larger on the seat diameter. Check the OD of the valve. So this valve is 1.472. Stock valve is 1.455. So in total OD, not quite 25 thou. So these would be a 1/2 mil oversized valve. A millimeter is 40 thousandths, roughly. So these are 40 thou over valves. The seat diameter is pretty well the same. This one does feel like it's got more of a multi-angle valve job, as where this one is. It seems to be really crisp. It's got a real short angle on there. So at the seat, you're not actually gaining much in hindsight. So. Food for thought. Okay, I'm gonna get a measure on the exhaust too while I'm over here. Seat ID is stock head, we have 0.969. Larger valve job heads, a little bit larger, but not much. .973. Stock valve diameter. .182. This one is 1.94. About 12 thousandths larger, not quite a half millimeter oversized on that. There are slightly larger valves, but not by much. We'll probably do some port touch up on this one. You can see there's a pretty good raised, I can really feel it with my fingers, a good raised spot right there. You can see it in the light now. It's definitely a discontinuity. The other port actually looks a little better, a lot better actually. So I'll probably do a little work on this upper. I'm going to check all the rest of them while I'm here, just like I did all of these intakes. So, and I'm going to debate if I'm going to come in here and do any clearancing around this valve. Catch up with you in a bit. So I did a little play in. I've got a little real small burr that I can put in the drill and run these corners. And I pretty well I left the valve in to protect the seat. You never know, I might have to run these heads again. And it did a pretty good job rounding them. It took the squared edge of the corners away. As you can see there, you get a pretty sharp, pronounced square edge. Now they're radiused a good bit better. And I played with laying this edge back. It would probably help some, but it's going to be a lot of work, and I think probably bare minimum return. And I'm not sure I want to try to do that to this newer set of heads over here, or this different set of heads. So I will probably leave these in the shape they are, because this is a little risky. Because actually, when you've got, say, the drill in at this angle, depending on the valve, the way the cutter is turned in, it actually wants to lift the valve up, and you could get down onto the seat and mess the seat up. And I really don't want to go do another valve job. So maybe it's something I'll do to this set of heads, and maybe if I do mess up a seat, I can get a set of valve job done on this, and maybe I run this set of heads at a later date. You never know. These are the comp cams that came out of it. You can see that's the left exhaust, left intake over there. 106 461 9LE UV 601507. And they look great. They have no marking on them at all. Thought about selling them and going to a different set of cams. I still might, I don't know. But got everything pulled apart out of these heads. I've got all my better parts. I've got to go in the house and get some Ziploc bags and put all my lash adjusters, followers, and comp springs. Bag all that stuff up for the time being until I get out here to install it in this head here. This head here is ready to go. I've already done all the port cleanup on the one bad exhaust port that had to. I've already done all the port cleanup on the short turn for the intakes, and these are ready to go. Get this one, maybe start assembling on it tomorrow and get everything cleaned up. So that's it for now. So I did a good bit of thinking about cleaning these combustion chambers up, and I actually ended up, this was the burr I was using earlier. I actually found another burr sitting right here. It's not as pointed out on the tip. Get over there, some better light. This one's real pointy and this one's a little more rounded on the nose. So I took these valves out of the other head and I did some practice work over here on this other head because it's not super important to me anyway. But mainly just taking these rough corners down and putting a nice radius, and I really didn't work the exhaust much. I played with this burr on the exhaust and then I played with the other burr here on the intake. Got a lot better results. And then I also use my little short, got another real little short burr right there too. I didn't really like it. I like what this burr here is doing, giving me a good radius. As you can see, there's a pretty sharp edge right there. So these cam lobes, granted these are comps, so they're pretty proud on the top. So these valves will spend a good bit of time at peak or close to the peak airflow. But one thing, they spend a lot of time down here in low lift shrouded areas. So as much as I hate to put the extra work into this, it's definitely worth it. You get a lot of gains working the combustion chamber because you only hit peak lift one time during the valve event. You'll hit a low lift twice. You'll hit it on the way up and on the way down. So there's a lot of gains to be made in the low lift shrouded areas. So really it's better than doing any kind of work in the ports themselves. Granted, this port here, I'm hoping putting that short turn in there is going to help it a good bit. But really this combustion chamber work is probably where your biggest gains will be made. And your port work on these heads probably won't gain much because these heads have really big ports anyway. So touching the ports on these, other than this one short turn here, is probably not too beneficial just because these ports flow a lot on this old B series head anyway. So combustion chamber work is probably the most helpful thing I can do. Knock down these sharp corners, put some radius in there. That one doesn't even show that good. Radius these corners, help this valve flow better at low lift. And then these are valves out of that other head, so I'll mess them up. I'll sacrifice these valves just for this kind of work. So I'm gonna lay this edge back right here too because it's shrouding. This one's laid back already. This one's shrouding. So as I was sitting there thinking about these B series heads, having this one unshrouded, and this is the one that has the good short turn too. Air will flow in better. Probably has a little more velocity in this port because this port's a little larger. Air will flow in better here. It's going to start trying to tumble with this poor short turn here. So you'll have better flowing air over here and turbulent air over here. So I've heard it discussed that maybe on the old B series Cobra cams, one low lifted just a little quicker to induce swirl. I think just by the port shape themselves, it will induce swirl because you've got better flow coming out of this valve inherently than you do this one. So I think these heads will always swirl. But when I lay this back and I put a little short turn on this, I'm trying to turn them into a little bit more of a tumble port to where you get more even flow through both valves. Like I said, I'll never get as much flow out of this valve as this one because this short turn is just really shitty. So that's the decision. I'll set up the tripod and show you a little bit of me grinding away at these and how I do it. And I'm gonna have to sort of figure it out on the fly. I'm not exactly sure the best position to put this head in yet, so you'll get to see some of that. Get the tripod closer. Okay, pretty happy with that. So I hope I didn't block too much of the shot. Trying to get in here close and let you sort of see what I'm doing. You can probably still round. There's still a little bit more I can run down in that corner there. I've been working this one. I've still got a little there. Just using the screwdriver to sort of feel. Trying to get rid of that sharp edge at the bottom. The exhausts are definitely tougher. I might use my smaller burr for the exhaust. I might hit it with the big burr to sort of lay everything back and then hit it with the small burr. So we'll give that a try. The big thing I'm wanting is this divider right here in the middle. That little nub. I'm just trying to lay it back just a little bit on each side, help clearance that valve. I'm going to do just a little light smoothing. And I'm doing this, I'm not really worried about this running down in because it's turning, it's trying to climb up. Now this side, it's trying to climb down. So you gotta be thinking about where your tool's trying to take you. I'm pretty happy with that. So the main thing I'm doing here is I'm sort of working, let me get my pointer, sort of working this one down just a little bit here. Just sort of help unshroud just that area of the valve. I worked over the edge just a little bit. I worked just around the spark plug hole just a little bit to sort of lay the sharp edge back. That's just to try to help prevent detonation. I also do it on this sharp point right here. This comes to a sharp point. I lay it back just a little bit, nothing major, just to try to take that sharp point that would create a hot spot that could cause detonation. And then I lay back the sharp edge that you can see in this chamber. I lay it back, try to create a radius so that air can flow in a little better. Now if I was going to do a valve job, I would do this without the valves in place and do some finer smoothing. But I'm going to try again. This is bare bones on a budget build here, so I'm not doing a valve job. These heads have already had a valve job done. I'm going to try my best not to screw that up. So if you had a set of stock heads that you didn't want to do a valve job on, you could do this exact same procedure. Granted, you might need a new set of valves when you're done for one cylinder. Granted, this burr hasn't done much to those. It's really just on that top edge. It's kind of rounding over. You could probably run that over a polishing wheel or a little sanding disc when you're done, or a little sanding belt when you're done, and have these valves usable again. Again, this is bare bones budget. This is as cheap as it can go. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up these other holes and I'll bring you back. Okay guys, I kind of swapped back and forth. This little burr, the tip broke off of it and it quit doing good, so I swapped back to my bigger burr. It's doing pretty good. I've just worked my way down, just hitting the exhaust valves. I can clean the seats before I put the new valves back in them. I have these stacked off to the side the exact same way they came out. So the exhaust side's done. I'll roll the head and start doing the intakes. Okay, so I've already done these two. Just reach under, pop this up, set it down right there. On the back side of the head, do this, set it right next to it, so I know where they came in and out of. Good. These don't really matter where they go in because they are just protecting the seat. I do clean the face just to make sure there's no dirt on the face. Pop them in and back to cutting. So this one I'm basically just doing exactly the same thing here. This relief runs a little bit past half or the 6 o'clock mark on the valve. So this one I'm trying to keep it just dead set. I'm starting at 6 and working my way over. That way that's why I don't have them scribed out, because I know where I can stay away from my fire ring at. So if I stay at 6 o'clock and over, I'm safe. Otherwise, you better mark them out. Notice the way the tool's turning this way, so it will try to drag me over that way, so you got to be careful. That's dangerous. So my block that I got my head sitting on shifted on me for some reason. There we go. That's better. So the way this is turning, it can lift a valve and you can slip down in there and get a seat. This might have got this valve seat, but it didn't get the seat on the head. It might have got the seat on the valve, which I don't really care because I'm not reusing them. I do keep them closed. I don't want shavings get down in there and get the port all dirty. Each one's going to be different. So some of these have very small, I mean, even in this corner here, there's no ridge right there, just due to difference in the casting, the way when they cut the seat, they didn't grind in there. And some of these exhaust valves, I barely even had to touch because they had this one here. It had a very good radius in the casting itself. It didn't have that sharp edge. So some of it you just got to take what the cylinder head will give you. just about screwed up there. I'm trying to get you guys a good angle. And I did run down the face of this head just very slightly. It left little sort of track marks. We'll see. Once I get my gloves off, I'll see how that feels. I'm gonna have to get over here in the camera so you won't be able to see this. So I'll go ahead and finish up these intake ports. Okay, so finished up the whole head. Exhaust and intake. Wow, that's pretty bright. Let's see if it'll focus in here. And it's got good radiuses. I've laid this corner back on this one intake valve and just kind of rounded that corner off. Noticed like I said, I stopped at the 6 o'clock mark here, didn't go any further. And this one I haven't put the valves back in yet, so you can see how those radiuses turn out. They look pretty good, right up to basically the edge of the seat there. So this should help low lift flow. It's not going to do a ton at high lift flow, but you're only at high lift once, you're at low lift twice. So this is really where some of the biggest gains can be made, especially in initial cylinder fill. So I've probably got an hour, maybe 45 minutes in this, just rolling the head around, pulling the old valves out, putting the new valves back in, cleaning the seats, cleaning the valves before you put them back in. So in the end, I'll probably have 2 hours in each head of just chamber work, and then probably 30 minutes, maybe 20 minutes in each head of just cleaning up the short turn. So there's an idea of about what it takes to lightly port up a set of B heads to get them in pretty good shape. So hope you enjoy. I'm gonna go ahead and button this head up for the valves and bring you back for putting the cams and springs back in. That'll probably be another video. So hope you guys enjoy. There'll be more to come. Like and subscribe.